Please, let's put our hands together to welcome Dr. Bush Aguma Harbeck. Thank you.
Good evening, colleagues. We've come to the beginning of the end of our day. And as Dr. Nuru just mentioned, thank you for hanging on. We shall be done very soon. So quickly, our next presenter is an interesting one and is going to give us a presentation on professionalism in practice and thriving commercially in community pharmacy without compromising ethics. So this presenter is a man of all seasons, and he does many different things. He has a bee farm from Makerere University. He also has an MBA from UMI. He's a Division 1 rally champion. So as I told you, he's a man of all seasons. So he does many things. So apart from pharmacy, he does driving as a rally person. He's an NRC Federation of Motor Sports Clubs of Uganda. He's a managing director of If you've been to Wandegea, one of the places or the brands that welcomes you to Wandegea is I hope you've been able to see it. We've been just learning about personal branding. So branding for a community pharmacy. He's also the chief pharmacist of Egovet Uganda Limited, and he's also a founder of Drug Express company, Uganda, drugexpress.co.ug, which is a telemedicine platform which many of you have heard of and are aware of. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Mukasa Mustafa. So Dr. Mukasa Mustafa, you're welcome to give us your presentation.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. I know people are really tired, so I'll concentrate on personal branding because as Mr. Ethan has, for many years, I think I last saw him 10 years ago. And I was inspired by his energy and his insight in how to be better. I love the energy you use and, the honesty with which you deliver. You don't promise the impossible by, like most of the social media inspiration artists. So thank you. I'll concentrate on personal branding. Because it's time up, really. People need to rest. Muslims need to go and pray. But I'll also try and create some memories, a story that we can remember, at least in the few things I'll say, like we've just been taught by Mr. Ethan. That is about me. My passion can be seen through what you see on that page. And I hope by the time I'm 80 years old, very many things in a similar format will be there. I didn't talk about my family, and neither did I talk about my passion, my personal pastimes apart from rally, but I'll add them for the end game, end story at 80. So we see how my colleagues will talk about me then. So I'll just quickly talk about the gist of the matter as a gateway to the presentation, to give us some appetite as a starter. So we all know that profitability, which I don't need to define in this forum, is mostly thought of in business to be impeded by practice of high level of business ethics. And this has been the mainstay. This is what people have been thinking all along. However, the world is changing so much, and for those who have been out of the business environment or who have not been observing closely, over the last few years, 10 to maybe 30, 50, medical ethics has become central to everything discussed in business, from big companies to small companies. Currently, it has gone beyond that actually business ethics are an indispensable driver of business profitability. It was before an optional choice, but now it's becoming an indispensable driver, which before you expect profitability and business success, you must have taken care of. Worse still, or furthermore, with a lot of globalization and technical advancement, there their demands are higher and more specific. They have access to information. And of course, with the advancement in technology and globalization, there is something very important that is happening in the recent past, and that's to do with investors. The nature of investors has changed from the traditional banks and personal funds and family trusts. More and more now, due to globalization and the change in the investment and financial landscape, businesses that compete well and that can scale extensively are reliant on a different kind of financing from investors and venture capitalists. So this, when it all comes together, the competition, the regulation, the customer expectations, and of course the nature of investors that are driving business, it has brought business ethics to the center of favorable business activities or business success. Therefore, I think it's a perfect time for us to discuss profitability versus ethics as we think about commercial success in community pharmacy. And we're going to see how, we're going to understand what, in this case, ethics is all about. We shall define ethics from the approach of commercial success and business decision making, not in the traditional manner per se. And then we'll also examine the meaning of commercial success and especially profitability. And we are going to see finally, we shall share knowledge on how we can utilize business ethics as a driver of business success. Yeah, so when I talk about community pharmacy, I'll again try and define what community pharmacy is from the perspective of the topic today. And mainly I'll look at how it has changed over time. The role of pharmacy is changing so fast, and all of us should take note. From traditional pharmacy, we are now having a more complex service offering to clients. The client's needs, as we've seen, have also changed. And so we have to move beyond the traditional dispensing of medications. In fact, pharmacy has moved way beyond traditional dispensing of medicines. And if we have not yet caught up, let's know that it is the future, which some people are already living, and we must prepare for and catch up with. Of course, aside from that, there is a central role and an integral role of pharmacists today. Before, it was in clinical pharmacy, in the hospitals. Whatever has been happening in the hospital, in clinical pharmacy, is now happening in the community pharmacy. Because most patients, they want convenience, and they want a certain level and quality of tailor-made communication and service. And so you find that many patients are now taking many OPD clinical services are being brought by the patients to OPD, but in the pharmacy. So the role of community pharmacy and the definition, therefore, of community pharmacy has evolved in that respect. Aside from that, and along the same timeline, the technological advancement has led to very disruptive processes that I'll just summarize them here. Integration, digitalization came first. So we would use computers maybe to store information. Later there was integration through software applications which can make data speak to itself. But also, after interconnectivity coming in, you would find that information could be integrated from department to department, from business to business, upstream, downstream, and so on and so forth. And also there was a redefinition of how patients and doctors relate with each other. Social media interactions came in, and now we are looking at artificial intelligence and augmented reality, which are the current disruptors or the future disruptors of pharmacy practice. So we've looked at that. The different changes are summarized there, from clinical to outpatient to integrated pharmacy outpatient services, patient-focused healthcare. We've talked about all this. The result also of the several changes in the environment is that there is currently a very highly competitive market. There are alternative service providers, be it herbal medicine, and even sometimes general sales businesses are selling the same products that pharmacies sell. Also, we talked about the globalization and the fact that now the ownership of pharmacies is not just by locals, but also community pharmacy is being actively engaged in by international players. I also wanted to turn your focus to something which is also very important. These are the eras. This is evolution of community pharmacy on a more from the classical kind. We had an era of the compendium where it was all about compounding and administration or dispensing of medicines. Then post-World War, we started to focus more on drug interactions and adverse effects. Also, in that period, pharmaceutical manufacturers and healthcare providers had to contend with ethical, legal issues. And this was during the era when there was, when there was mass production of formulations. Then we went into the clinical pharmacy era, as I've mentioned. We were an integral part of the clinical pharmacy setting. And now our role is as such. We are doing vaccinations. Why? Because we are very accessible. We are doing medication therapy management. Why? Because we are the first point of contact. We are the regular healthcare personnel that consumers interact with. We are the managers of, we are helping in chronic disease management because we are the ones who fulfill the chronic care prescriptions. And we are doing, of course, the usual counseling on health conditions, but we are going beyond that. We are helping and we are counseling patients on their general well-being. That's how much the role of community pharmacy has broadened. And alongside that, also the customer expectations are evolving, and customers are expecting more and more from the community pharmacists and community pharmacy. Apart from filling their prescriptions and dispensing their medications with proper counseling, they expect us to provide the essential clinical services I've mentioned above. And over and above that, and in very huge proportions and rapid growth, is they expect wellness and beauty care solutions from the community pharmacy. And meaning that's a new niche which is growing rapidly, and you'll find that some pharmacies are selling 30%, 50% wellness and beauty products as compared to filling prescriptions for chronic illness medicines and antibiotics and the rest. So that is how consumer expectations are changing the landscape in the community pharmacy. Aside from the actual service, consumers currently look at pharmacy services on the same standard as they look at any other services. Whether it's a supermarket they are going to, whether they are buying airtime or sending mobile. Nicely they can do it is how they expect a pharmacy service to be. So they expect convenience, 24-hour services, deliveries and so on. They expect comprehensive and accurate information about their medicines, but also their health in general. They expect a seamless experience. They don't want to hear out of stock. They don't want, they really have very particular needs and expect a stellar customer service or customer experience. Therefore, for pharmacies to thrive and survive, they have to, of course, evolve pharmacy businesses. Individual pharmacy businesses must evolve together with the patients and together with the market. And that means catching up with the consumer expectations through one-stop health service, health supplies, delivery services, and so on and so forth. Also, for pharmacies to survive, they must look beyond the revenue stream from medicines and, engage themselves in other revenue streams such as reimbursement services, reimbursement revenue from providing third-party clinical services like refilling prescriptions like for ARVs, involving themselves deeper into the health and well-being of patients that can fetch extra revenue for that service compared to the medicines, working in partnership with NGOs and government institutions, private insurers, and other private healthcare providers through insurance as well as public-private partnerships. Furthermore, the changes being observed by currently with the pharmacies that are trying to challenge the existing or address the existing gaps include doing things like mergers and acquisitions. Some pharmacies buy others. Also, in this environment where the profitability is becoming a problem, economies of scale is becoming important, as well as lowering the costs of business through efficient operations. Lastly, there is a need to, in making operations more efficient and lowering costs, many pharmacy businesses are closing the brick and mortar shops and going in more for the digital pharmacy. Also, at the same time, pharmacies are expected and are trying to take advantage of the technological integration, as we've talked about it, as we look into the future of smart pharmacies. And also, regulation has become dynamic to catch up and support the changing role of community pharmacies in patient care. So, for the purposes of us answering the question of how do we ensure thriving of community pharmacy business while practicing good business ethics, we need to understand, remind ourselves the 5 principles of business ethics: integrity, transparency, fair business practices, professionalism, which involves the compliance to the laws and regulations, and then finally, corporate social responsibility, and environment, social, and governance. CSR and ESG are keywords in corporate boardrooms because they define and almost encompass the whole idea of business ethics. And they are models which standardize what is expected from companies in form of protecting and serving the society at large. The common goal of both CSR and ESG is to act as an ethical model to guide businesses and standardize how they carry out their moral responsibility. Another key unit. However, CSR, any efforts short term, and this is usually a requirement of certain sections of maybe sometimes clients or investors. The difference, the ESG and CSR are almost the same, but now for ESG, it's a more long-term, it is a standard which a company is held to by its governance structures. So it's needed within, it's demanded for within the company. And its goals are long-term, and they are to do with sustainability and resilience of company operations and strategy, as well as sustainability and continuity of the society at large. So I won't go into the pillars deeply, but some are environmental, some are economic, some are ethical, and some are philanthropic. Building schools here, creating extra jobs, non-discrimination, helping people who are marginalized, and then, of course, protecting the environment. ESG, on the other hand, is more stringent, and its pillars are environmentally, efficient use of energy, climate change strategies, and so on and so forth. Socially, or social stands for fair pay, equal employment opportunities, workplace safety, and so on. Whereas governance, which is the work that is done by the board of directors of an organization or a business, ESG holds businesses to high levels of standards to do with governance. And this is where accounting integrity and accounting transparency comes in. Conflicts of interest between the management, conflict of interest between, are we okay? Conflict of interest between, by management in their dealings, ethical business practices, compliance to laws and regulations, and risk management systems. So this is just to give a difference between the benefits of, this is just to give the benefits of CSR and ESG to a business and to society in general. This is a very important slide to answer our question. Because if a company follows good business ethics through CSR and ESG, they'll attract talent, they'll engage, motivate, and retain the talent. They'll establish good systems and structures for continuity of business. They'll establish brand reputation and grow the value of the brand. They'll get customer loyalty, they'll attract investors, they'll foster partnerships, and in the end, they'll mitigate operational and strategic risks and minimize losses from these risks. And this will enable long-term profitability and continuity of the business enterprise. Society in general benefits because CSR and ESG, as the goal said, helps to safeguard the safety of the public, creates harmony and communication between the stakeholders, improves safety and quality of goods through setting certain tests and minimum thresholds, enables fair competition and balanced opportunity, so it enables innovation and starting up of business, guides decision-making processes in business, standardizes the expectations and reporting for purposes of investors, banks, government institutions, and also improves public services through CSR. We can read more about ESR. Sometimes we may hear of CSR. Along CSR, we may hear of ESR, but those are reporting standards, European standards of reporting. So how do we build ethical practices into our businesses? How do we turn ethical business practices from a cost to a benefit? We do this by understanding how we can make decisions based on ethical principles. And these are called ethical frameworks. These are the structured methods that show us how we can make decisions based on moral or ethical principles. One framework is utilitarianism, which this framework relies on the principles of transparency, open communication, and governance, which we've seen under CSR, ESG, and under general principles of ethics. And it focuses on the outcome to ensure that we give the greatest benefit for the greatest number of people. That's framework number one. So if you ask yourself, am I going to give, through this decision, I may lose money, but am I going to give greater benefit to a greater number of people? I'll lose some profit by reducing price for a much needed item in a low resourced environment or community. And then once you have that framework, you can use governance, transparency, open communication, and fair business practices as principles to enforce it. Deontology, it relies on high levels of compliance. Deontology is a structured method that emphasizes following the rules, regulations, the laws, the moral duties, as well as the written obligations or duties of a business. Virtual ethics, this one relies on improvement of character and choice of good character during business dealings. And this relies on principles of integrity, transparency, and as we select our choices, as well as our company and our employees. Rights-based ethics is the last ethical framework, and it highlights the importance of individual freedoms and rights. And therefore, it relies on the principles seen on the previous slide of, communication, conflict resolution, as well as CSR and ESG. And the benefits may not be tangible in terms of their intangible benefits, mainly of ethical business practices. And many of them are long-term. And whereas we would like, there is what we call the profitability imperative, which means a business is set up to make profit. That is the reason, that's the overarching reason why a business exists. But with ethical business practices, we end up at the last slide of Mr. Ethan, which is the divine calling. It's called the divine procreation. If we are procreating with the Most High, we may choose that our imperative changes. We look into ourselves and we choose profitability, but housed in the temple of goodness, such that profitability as an imperative can never become the house in which goodness thrives, but rather the other way around. So profitability can't grow and overtake general societal or human benefit. So with a humanistic imperative, we realize there are certain benefits we will get in the long term. We may lose profit in the short term, but the benefits we get in the long term are worth making a decision and drawing a conclusion about profitability versus ethical business practices. Enhanced brand reputation, risk management, employee satisfaction, and long-term growth. Again, I like the lecture by, the talk by Mr. Ethan. He talked about, do you post on the social media to get very many instant likes? Or do you develop a brand by being trusted and communicating truthfully and communicating empathetically and communicating usefully? You may get few likes today, but the ones you get, you'll stay on social media longer. The next time you'll check, your colleague would have been blocked by TikTok. So it's a very similar thing in business. You get small profits, but you get bigger profits over time, and you're more assured of long-term success, and you're more assured of personal satisfaction and self-actualization, which comes only through positive impact on society and on others, and can never come through profit. Yeah. So my senior is pestering me to conclude. And I'll conclude by just showing you this. Those are the ones we've talked about, what we need to understand what business value is. That is just a classification of the same. For those who are interested in business or who are doing business, this is how a business is valued. If you want to sell your business, or if you want to buy a business, you need to look at the financial numbers and the non-financial numbers. 10, 15 years ago, when someone was selling a pharmacy, they would sell stock and fittings. not even a license because it was intangible, but as we've seen here, there are intangible assets of a business and tangible assets. And so when you're valuing your business, when you're valuing your personal brand, it's not only how much money you have in the bank or if you've built a residential house or rentals. That is just part of it. The non-financial part makes money, and it makes big money too. Reminds me of an example of, I think if I'm not mistaken, Uber or one of those organizations, when venture capitalists were coming in to buy in, they valued the company at about $4 billion US dollars. The owner of the company said, my company is worth 53 billion US dollars. And he promised to convince them why. But you see, the things he had were trademarks, was a reputation, was a good human capital, was a customer need that had huge potential, and of course, was a vision, mission that was going to positively, most importantly, was a vision and mission that was going to positively impact all mankind. Yeah, so that's how we should think about our business value. And I hope that we can all use these ethical frameworks and I hope we can all use these ethical frameworks and principles and mindset as we build our businesses, as we build our personal brands, and as we build our companies and our profession. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before you leave, can we have one or two questions for Dr. Mustafa? Any one or two questions? Is it because
they are tired?
We are tired.
I want to go and pray.
Okay. Another round of applause for Mustafa for that interesting presentation. We've learned a lot from his session, and we need to understand how evolving business is. What business was 20 years ago, 10 years ago is not what it's going to be in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. We can learn many lessons from companies that were big so many years ago, but today they are no more. Companies like Kodak, Ericsson, very many types of businesses that were business leaders. And applying the principles of ethics, especially that we are professionals who already understand professional ethics, but now also stretching it to business ethics as we apply it to business and stay in business for a long time. So I hope you've learned a lot from his session. I wish we had enough time to really learn from these great minds and other people that we've had before. Without taking any more time, we'll have our last presentation. And our last presentation is about navigating workplace conflict, skills for harmonious practice. So you could build your profitable venture, but then that could be destroyed by not having proper environment for people to be able to work. So our next presenter is Caroline, who has been a human resource practitioner for 15 years, and also as a consultant, and has done all kinds of HR assignments. And apart from that, she's also an author in areas of personal growth and family. So she will be presenting in the place of Geoffrey Ndobo. And let's put our hands together and welcome her as she gives us a presentation on how to deal with conflicts.
Thank you very much, Dr.
Aguma.
Dr. Aguma.
Yes.
Thank you so very much for giving me that very good introduction. My name is Jennifer Mudondo. I have been an HR practitioner for a very long time. I have gray hair in HR. Apart from that, why am I even saying it again? So we're going to talk about conflict. My presentation is yet to be put up. So as the team puts it up, I'll be telling you about why conflict in the workplace is very important. If we are all in this city, we must have observed that there are big issues with emotions today. You are on the road, you don't see a mistake you have done, you are driving, and suddenly a border guy throws an insult at you. Or, for so many other reasons, a few months ago, or maybe it's even a year ago, my colleague, he's called Geoffrey, right here, was driving, he was stuck in traffic jam, and suddenly a border guy gets angry and picks stones and throws at his car. And guess what he said as he threw the stone? Mwemuli bulungi muvuga fet. So there's an mwe and a fe that we have not even participated in forming. So we don't know what the next person is thinking about us without even talking to them. And I'm creating this as a background for you to understand why it is important in the workspace that we manage conflict. A couple that I know, the wife said that she woke up in the middle of the night only to catch her spouse staring at her with an angry face. Now imagine this lady is your employee and she's coming to office tomorrow. So these are the minds, these are the emotions that we are bringing to the workplace. I will tell you about our organization. Geoffrey and I work together with the M40 Business Management. We are a human resource consulting firm. So everything human resource we do, including business process outsourcing and the now very important aspect of employee well-being. It's unfair of me to say this, but it's as if the number of people whose mental health is becoming a really big problem is increasing. That has already been mentioned before. So this is why we need to manage conflict at the workplace. But what is conflict in the first place? Conflict is disagreement over a task or a process or a relationship, a misunderstanding that might happen in the workplace. If it's a task-related conflict, it could be about, is this the task that we should be doing? If it's a process, it might be about the approach, or if it's a relationship, it's about how I present myself or how you perceive me. Have you got the slides yet? Sorry, my friends, as the slides are being put up. It is very important as team members, as supervisors, as managers, that we learn how to manage conflict. Because in the end, anything that affects how we are working together is going to affect the quality of the service that we deliver. Okay, thank you. Please proceed.
You're looking for this?
Okay, so we have already talked about why it is important that we manage conflict, because it is as certain as your morning coffee or morning tea. You know for sure that conflict is going to happen in the workplace. What is conflict? When people disagree over ideas or roles or personalities, there is bound to be conflict. It may be about a task, in which case it would be, maybe this is not the right thing for us to do, given the circumstances, we should be thinking about something else. It may be over a relationship, we do not understand each other. The way I present myself is not the way I am perceived, so a conflict can result out of that. But it may also be process related, which would be speaking to what approach we are taking or what strategy, you know. Now, one of the things that you must avoid, whether you are home or at the workplace, is to think that it is best to avoid the conflict. Because a wise saying exists that if you avoid conflict in order to keep peace, you are creating a war inside of yourself. You know, this is exactly the example that I just gave. A couple that I know, one woke up only to find that the other person was staring at them in the middle of the night. So it's very close to a volcano erupting in the bedroom. So it is not good to avoid to deal with conflict in the workplace. It is not right that we pretend all is well when the actual truth is that it is not well. Please embrace conflict as a way to improve. The reason why conflict management could be a way to improve how we do service delivery, right from the office to how our clients feel about us, is because it shows us where gaps are. Gaps in how we relate as individuals could very easily translate into gaps in how we perform the duties that are assigned to us. Now, what key skills do we need to have in order to manage conflict effectively? I'm glad that I think it was Dr. Rogers spoke about mental health, that spoke about some of these issues that in my presentation. So I'll be just running over them. So one of the key skills is active listening. Have you been in a conversation with maybe your manager, you go to them to present an issue, and all they are doing is prepare their response as you speak to them? That is not active listening. You want to listen to the person and get all the issues that they are giving to you, and even show them that you can hear what they are saying. You can nod, you can keep saying, yes, I understand. You can keep asking questions that check whether you are understanding, you are getting the message that they are telling you. You have heard, but have you understood? That's the point I just spoke about. Sometimes a person is speaking to you, they are verbally saying something, but there's something they have not voiced, but which you are able to see. It's the same thing that happens in my experience as a human resource practitioner when I'm interviewing. There are things that a candidate will not see, rather say, but you actually can see them. And check with the other person to see whether you have a correct interpretation of what you are seeing. And then when you do all those things, you are able to give the appropriate response. Please note that many times our response could actually escalate a conflict. For example, if I come to you with an issue, with a concern about a colleague, and you say, oh, but you guys are always fighting as if you don't have work to do, which might be true, but it is not an appropriate response. They have come to you with a mild conflict, and by the time they leave your office, it is much bigger. So be very cognizant of those facts. The second skill is empathy. It's simply walking a mile in the shoes of the other person. By the time a person comes to you with an issue, it's actually affecting small. Feeling, understand their point of view, understand the emotions behind these words, and then be humorous appropriately. I'm going to give an example of of a humorous a joke that went wrong somewhere, and I hope I will not be judged for thinking the way I thought when the joke was shared, but later in the next slide. Be assertive. Again, I think Dr. Rogers spoke about it. Say what you mean. It is very easy to be misunderstood, especially if you are not very assertive. As a manager, as a team member, as a colleague, let people know exactly what you mean, and let it be clear what you do not mean. Many times in the workplace, we fail to be assertive because we think that we are going to become unpopular, that we are going to offend people, that they are going to say, oh, she's very uncooperative, oh, but she's not supportive. So sometimes you end up with a very big plate of work because you don't know how to say, no, that is not going to be possible. So sometimes we create situations of conflict that we could have avoided if we just put our feet down on certain things. The I and you statements, again, I had a member here talk about them. You see, when you say, you are always doing this, you are attacking the character of the other person. And anyone would jump to the defensive if you attacked them that way. Instead, we use the I statement. The I statements communicate the impact of the behavior of the other person. For example, I feel so demeaned when you keep saying this and this and this. Instead of, but you, the way you keep referring to me as, so if you talk to me as, but you, I'll jump to the defensive. But if you talk to me and say that, am I audible? If you talk to me and say that, I feel this way when you express yourself that way, or every time you come late, as the head of the department, I feel that you create an image of us that is not right. Instead of, you keep coming late every day. What is the problem with you? So you are attacking my personality, and I'm thinking you don't even know what I go through, instead of communicating the impact of my behavior. Avoid managing conflict on email. Have you ever received an email in capital letters, in red, with exclamation marks? So that is not right, because it's a memory that you have created there, first of all. It's a record of that day and that moment. But what if the person comes to you and explains themselves, and you actually understand that, oh, so you were right. What did you do to that record? So email or text or WhatsApp is not a good way to manage conflict. Okay, now, humor is good. So sometimes it is nice to use it very carefully, very selectively, to help people to release tensions. For example, what's a pharmacist's favorite exercise? You can say, it is running out of stock. You know, there's humor behind it. But I promise that I would tell you something that was meant to be a joke, but which came out funny. So I attended a rural wedding reception. It was in Toro. So as you can imagine, all the Bagurusi, the Baturukati, they had come. The sets of parents from both sides had come. So this MC stood up and said, "Oh, we have come to the sweetest part of this event, which was dancing." And he invited the groom and the bride to open the dance, and then said that after our people have opened the dance, please, you are all welcome to dance. But a word of caution, please. Do not dance horizontally. So everyone who had attended went like, okay, I've forgotten the word. In vernacular, it sounded really bad. I think mutazina mubiamide or something like that. So everyone went like, how can you say that? We have all these Bagrusis around. I'm sure you imagined what we imagined, those of us who attended. So it is good that you calculate your humor and apply it where it is not going to be problematic. Every day, all the time, laughter should be part of the team. It's good to share funny jokes. Be very intentional. Don't think that these things come by default. You have to be intentional. Very, very intentional. So jokes, whatever you calculate to bring harmony in the team. And then the skill of being self-aware. Do you know that many times we have issues because we have a team of 10 and each of them think they are a certain personality that they are actually not. So you are here, you think you are very, very understanding, when you actually are not. You think you are very confident, but you are not. So you are not self-aware. Self-awareness helps us this way. I am a very big advocate for self-awareness because I know how far it has brought me as a person. So when you know the kind of person that you are, you know the things that trigger you, you know how maybe certain remarks could treat you, and you know what you are capable, how you are capable of reacting in different situations. It helps you as you relate with other people. So this should be intentional. I think that teams should be encouraged to get into these exercises of what kind of person are we. Sometimes if you don't know who you are, the person right next to you knows. There are things I've been told about me that baffled me, and I had no clue I was that kind of person. It can be a very interesting exercise, by the way, if you sat down as teams and cared to understand what kind of person each one of you is. It helps you to understand how you complement each other and how you're going to support each other. And sometimes when someone's emotions flare, you can tell that is coming from this. And you know how to deal with them. Okay, there are several, before we get to that slide, there are several other means or other skills that you need to manage conflict. For example, to communicate effectively, collaboration, emotional intelligence, many, positive thinking, so that you are able to contain emotions. Instead of fighting, you are able to speak. I've personally worked with individuals who cannot even speak when they're angry. They just shake. So how do you deal with an individual like that? But if you support them to be self-aware, gradually, as a manager, as a colleague, you can save a lot within the team. So here are some practical steps, practical tips to de-escalate. One, in that moment, take a pause. Again, I remember Dr. Rogers mentioned this. Take a pause. There are some things that might sound stupid, and yet they are actually great tips. For example, this deep breath, breathing in, breathing out. You can try it and see it has very interesting results. And it's as simple as that. 1 minute and you are feeling much better. Instead of jumping into a conclusion and wanting to attack people, just take a deep breath. Positivity was already mentioned, and then the thing of snacks. A long time ago, Geoffrey and I were working together. We had this manager who had a way of annoying us, so to speak. But after annoying you, she would come with chocolates. She was a very, I don't know what it is called, but she's the kind of person who say, present this to me in a tabulated manner. And you were wondering, why are we tabulating this? So she would come up with lots of structures, report like this, write like this. And we were saying, but why are we doing all these things? But after those instructions, she would come with chocolate and give all of us. And before you know, it's not as if we were craving chocolate, but the snack makes an impact. Okay, and as I wrap up, these should be your key takeaways. Conflict is normal. It is going to happen. Whether you like it or not, whether you fear it or not, it is going to happen. And that's, by the way, everywhere. At home, on the road, and in the office. It is going to happen. So the earlier we embrace that fact, the better, and then we learn to manage it. Also understand that how you respond to conflict could manage it, could reduce it, or it could escalate it. Use key skills daily for smoother workspace flow, and be very, very intentional. Anticipate conflict and mitigate it. Sometimes you come with maybe a strategy or with a proposal, and you know this one is going to be problematic. People will not take it just as straight as you brought it. So you think about those things. Ask yourself questions that the other person would probably ask, and prepare answers.
Thank you. Good evening. I've been trying so hard not to ask any questions today, but I feel I should ask you this one. Because as the head of department, I've been in public service for over 14 years, and before that I was in the private sector for over 10 years as a manager of a business, which had nothing to do with pharmacy. So I've had more than my fair share of conflicts with the subordinates. And now an issue arises. These organizations have a hierarchical structure. A hierarchy exists. So what happens when your subordinate feels like he's right, you his boss, you are wrong, he does not want to recognize your place in the structure, that you are actually his boss, and whatever you tell him, he has a counter argument, and he feels like you feel like the argument is going nowhere towards resolution. Anything you have done to mitigate the conflict has failed, because the subordinate is very difficult. So how do you enforce your position in the hierarchy to bring the subordinate to order? Or is it, in what ways can your position in the hierarchy, being higher than the subordinate, be a problem in conflict resolution? Because you may also come in with the force of your position in the hierarchy, and you say, I'm your boss, what I've said, I have said. And that's it. So how does hierarchy affect the mitigation interventions that you have suggested in terms of prevention and management of conflict. Thank you.
Any other question? Last one. I think there's somebody over there on my right.
Yes, good evening to you all. My question is that you have told us about the resolution or management of conflicts on the part of the bosses or those in the top hierarchy. What of, how could the workers or those below the hierarchy avoid or manage the conflict? Because in some places, for example, you, the worker, you can be thinking that you are right and you are giving the right words, the right answer or the right possible solution to the boss. But the boss assumes that since he's the boss, but okay, he can't like take you serious. Or I think you are trying to get my question. Okay, in short is that how to avoid or manage conflicts on the sides of the workers or those in the lower hierarchy to their bosses. Thank you.
Thank you. I think your question sort of, in a way, relates with his question. But my presentation actually is for everybody. Whether you are the boss or you are the subordinate, this presentation covers you. We should be able to talk to each other about how we feel about each other, about what we do, about what we don't feel is fair or is right. But if it is between your supervisor and yourself, I hope that you have the confidence to walk to their office and tell them, this is how I feel. And remember, when you do that, please go at the back of your mind with the I and you statements. You don't walk to your supervisor's office to say, you told us to do this, and now see what has happened. You should say, I, or we, if you are speaking for your team. When you instructed us to do this, this is what we felt. This is the impact of the instruction that you gave. We are thinking or we are proposing that it should instead be this way. But that also depends on what conflict it is. Sometimes it is a relationship conflict. It's the character of your supervisor. If you have a whistleblower policy, that is where it would help. Because conflict management also cannot be managed, cannot be done in a vacuum. These processes loop into each other. Organizations have regulations. They have policy manuals. There's a whistleblower policy in the organization. But before you whistleblow, make sure that you have spoken to the person, the boss that you are referring to. Does that help? Thank you. And now to the gentleman over there. How does hierarchy contribute to conflict? That's an interesting question. I just want to make these remarks. First and foremost, it depends on what has caused the conflict. So what is the foundation of the conflict? Because while subordinates can be stubborn, there are managers who also may not necessarily be well equipped for the role that they are playing. So many times, even the manager needs feedback. But you have said that you have tried over and over and over again to address this person's conflict and it has not worked. This is the time to seek help of a third person. It is called mediation. Look for someone to mediate and step out of the picture. But while that goes, it is good that you also take time to look at yourself. What is that called? Self-evaluation. What is it that this subordinate keeps seeing in me that disturbs them that much? So while you look for help by way of mediation, also reflect and see your own contribution to this situation. Because if there is conflict between two parties, we surely cannot say that one party is 100% clean and only the other party has issues. So reflect yourself and see what is your contribution is to this situation as you seek mediation. A third party who is not part of the entire thing can come in with a different eye, look at things from a different angle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. So we've come to the end, and we've learned quite a lot, especially in these last two sessions. I believe we've taken one or two things from conflict, about conflict resolution in workplaces, because we've been told that as sure as day follows night, there will be conflict. So we need to know how to resolve it and learn the art of being able to manage conflict. So at this point, I would like to invite Dr. Nuru Ogide to come and help us conclude today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. Dr. Bush Herbert Aguma, I really appreciate you with the rest of your team for moderating our last but not least session, and the members that have been resilient to stay to the end. This is only a sign of how resilient we are as pharmacists, even in our workplaces. So I thank you so much. Thank you, Miss Jennifer. I listened to you and I forgot that the day has been long and exhausting. I could listen to you over and over again. And I'm sure I was not the only one in the audience. Thank you. I hope that for those that have been asking for their contacts, you can contact me, or they are still here. For those of us that have companies, that have farms, I think such kind of information would be very resourceful to us and our human resource. So thank you so much, Mr. Geoffrey. Thank you. And now I'd like to pass a vote of thanks to everyone that joined us, that stayed here, to our service providers, the media team, the live streaming, the decoration team, the hotel, and everyone else that has supported this event to make it a success. I want to appreciate you, and I hope that tomorrow we'll also have such a wonderful presentation and event. We were supposed to have a wrap-up of the sessions from our rapporteurs, but unfortunately, I'm not able to see any of them. And I understand. Oh, there's Joshua. Yes, so before inviting our president, who is going to give closing remarks, I'm going to invite one of our rapporteurs to just give us the takeaways, just highlights, very brief highlights of the event. As you see, today has been such a long day, but I am very glad and I thank God that it has ended successfully. We anticipate a successful AGM tomorrow. Please keep time, and to our service providers, please keep up the same good spirit. We were honored that all the service providers are pharmacists, so that comes at an advantage to us, that they really understand the urgency and the impact of their services to such an event. So thank you so much, and we encourage you to keep up with the same spirit. I would also like to use this opportunity to encourage us to keep attending CPDs. We may not be able to have physical CPDs, and on a day like this, where we have the opportunity to gather and have physical CPDs, you see, as you can see, our program seems to be very, very packed because we have so much to talk about and yet very little time to execute whatever we want. But I'm glad that we have been able to cover at least 95% of the program. We had shared an assessment form. I hope that you can get some time to attend to it so that we have feedback and know where to improve. We need to look at the areas of improvement. We need to look at, we need to understand your suggestions for the areas of CPD topics you would like us to take. I would also like to encourage us to keep attending the online CPDs. This year, this committee started its works in March of this year. And from that time to date, we have had about 9 CPDs. But one key thing to note is that the attendance has been a little bit dwindling. We have had CPDs where we've had so many people log in and attend, and then we have also had CPDs where we have very few attendances. We're about 2,000 members, 2,200. That's a very big number. So when we have these CPDs, we expect to have at least half of us to attend those CPDs. But where we're moving, we are going to expect all of us to have these CPDs. I cannot emphasize enough the relevance of CPDs. CPDs are not an option for us as a profession, as pharmacists. CPDs are not an option. They are mandatory. They are a must. And as you may be aware, many professionals and many pharmacists elsewhere have the CPD point award system that is attached to their annual membership certificate, because that's what really, that's what brings meaning to the annual membership certificate. That's evidence that you are fit to practice and that you are relevant to your community in whatever workplace you find yourself in as a pharmacist. That being said, as you will see in our report, the Council is looking forward to implementing the CPD award, the CPD point award system. And we hope that this will not only make us better pharmacists, but we'll also be very updated about the trends in the healthcare sector. And ultimately, our impact to the community and where we work will be more felt. With that said, allow me, just before I invite our rapporteur to give us a wrap-up, to thank the Council that is led by our President. Thank you for leading us very well, Mr. President, and all the Council members that are still here. I see Dr. Seguia. I also see, yes, President is still here with us. I know that others are with us online, but I want to thank them. I want to thank the Secretary and the Secretariat that we work with that has really, really supported us to ensure that we run the operations of the Council smoothly. And of course, to thank the members for your support. So thank you so much. And without wasting time, let me invite Dr. Kiprotich Joshua to take 3 minutes to just wrap up the session. And then I will invite the president to give closing remarks. And we will meet tomorrow at the AGM. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Noro. I want to appreciate all the presenters that we've had for the day. All the things you've told us, you've given us a lot, and I can't even use the 3 minutes to summarize what I've been able to capture. We were 3 rapporteurs, and we were able to capture a lot of things, but because of the time, we've not finished harmonizing what we managed to do. Among the few things that I can be able to confidently say to you, I think I'm going to use Mr. Ethan's presentation to wrap this up. The few take-homes that we can have is, be that pharmacist advocate, be the connector that we saw, be the trusted advisor, and then the other things that we were able to capture are, make your brand in how you perform will be how how people perceive you. So the rest of the things, we are going to be able to capture them in our report, and we shall give you a more detailed presentation on what we've been able to do. Thank you so much, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Joshua. You're the best timekeeper for today's event. Thank you. Now, I would like to invite our dear president to give his closing remarks before he can officially close the event. Thank you. Sorry. We have a gift, a cake, because today is World Pharmacists Day. The last event we are going to do is cut cake and celebrate this day. This cake has been gifted to us by one of our sponsors, and that is Troika. Troika, we have had such a long-standing relationship with Troika. We want to recognize you and thank you very immensely for standing with us through thick and thin. Thank you for coming, for thinking about us on such a wonderful day, on such a day that means a lot to us. Thank you for recognizing us. We'll cut the cake after the event. Unfortunately for us, today we have not had time to hear from Troika, but as we cut the cake, they'll say a word or two, and we hope that tomorrow's event can make room for most of our sponsors, actually. So thank you, and members, please join me in welcoming our president to say his closing remarks. Welcome, Mr. President.
She can stay because she's the vice president. As much as she was the chair of today's session, she's also a president in the council. I would like to take this opportunity to thank God, who has enabled us to come this far in the council, but also as a society. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. It's been such a pleasure for me. This is my first AGM as the president of PSU. Previously, for 4 years up to last year, I was the vice president, and I was learning from the then president Pamela Achi. We have already shared our report for tomorrow. It was a bit late, but we wanted to do a good work. And in my communication, you'll see that I'm really, really thanking her. You may not have a full understanding of how much impact she had on my own confidence. And I hope that that confidence that I got from Achi will be transmitted to Dr. Nuru over the period of 4 years that we'll be serving together. But she doesn't really deserve, rather, she doesn't really need a lot of confidence from myself because she's already up there. She's already confident. And I would like to thank her and the team, the Education and Professional Development Committee that has been behind today's program. They started quite a long time ago, coming up with the concepts, identifying the speakers. I don't know where you got these amazing speakers, actually. I really don't know how you got their contacts. Someone like Ethan, how can you get Ethan's contact? I'm just getting it for the first time in my life, and I'm very happy for it. Ethan, thank you so much. Thank you, the HR expert who has talked about conflict. I mean, if you want to know about an organization that has conflict, you don't need to look very far. But I'm not going to mention that organization. I'm not going to mention it, but you don't need to look very far. So we have a lot of conflict, all of us, in our workplaces. At MAST, I am a university lecturer, as you know. We have a lot of conflict. In the society here, we have some conflict, yeah? But we try to manage it. Yeah? That's why we are still here, although our hairs are grayer, more gray than last year. Yeah, but I would like to thank all of you for coming. I would like to thank all the people who have supported today. Yeah? The AGM Organizing Committee, Dr. Fevi, Dr. Howlett, Collins. I know most of you are the young generation, and some of you, I don't know your names, but I know you have done a great job. I was here last evening. Around this time, I passed by, and people were addressing these chairs. These chairs were all dressed by pharmacists. This facility that we are having here, our beautiful screen, is a pharmacist business. The live streaming is for pharmacists. The photography is for, and we are not doing that just for ring fencing, but it's because these pharmacists said, this is our thing, and we are going to give you the best offers, the best quotations. They went through the competitive process, but they knew that they had to cut their costs in order to be able to win our offers. So we appreciate you, and we would like to support you as much as we can. I know we have already spent a long time here. It is good, it's our day. There are 2 days actually. Tomorrow will be as engaging, but I don't want to delay you that much. So the speakers who have spoken, I've really loved it. I've really loved it, and I'm going to follow it up with you. The council members, Dr. Seguya is still here, ourselves, Dr. Faisal. Dr. Edson was the secretary of PSU. And once a secretary, once a council member, always a council member, always a secretary. Thank you so much for keeping us in check, because you know what we should do. 14 days notice to the AGM. All reports should be there. But we never really managed to beat that 14-day timeline for the report. But at least for the notice, it was there. So, members, I can speak forever. I don't want to do that. We have a cake, a beautiful cake. Troika Pharma, you've supported us for many years. And you've brought us a cake to celebrate today, which is the World Pharmacists Day, also the day of PSU CPD. So thank you so much for giving us this cake. And we are going to eat it. Someone was saying, we are few people. We are going to eat it. And we are not going to leave any small bits for those who are not here. Our quorum is 20 people, not so. And we are more than 20. We will eat it and finish it. The sponsors, Maisha Meds, they talked to us, I think, in the morning. Carol was here, Wide Spectrum, Dr. Musa Semanda and your Vibrant team, Piston Medical. We were with them, and as per the PSC's invitation, we are sending a delegation of about 5 to 7 industrial pharmacists to the PSC's office on Monday morning. And this gentleman of Piston Medical has agreed to be part of that team. So we want to send our best people, and these guys are actually some of the best we have. Troika, Pharma, and OncoPharm. Actually, all these are going to be represented because OncoPharm is probably a subsidiary of the other industry. I know these pharmacists. We are going to have a very strong delegation to honor the invitation from the PS today. So we thank you so much for supporting us, and we wish you a great night. For pharmacists, you go and make sure you cross-check whether your suits are in good order. Tomorrow we are here. And you know that, as per the communication, it's compulsory or you pay a fine. It's the first time Council has introduced a fine for not attending AGM. AGM is free for all members of PSU. If you don't attend, you pay. So it's only not free for those who do not attend it. And we are going to make you pay if you do not come. So go and cross-check your suits. Come and we discuss the AGM report tomorrow. So we are going to have Ethan, because I loved your presentation. You'll cut the cake with us, because you really understand the energy of life, that creation. They say the entrepreneurs are the best creators. And so if you are a creator, you can't be poor. So if we want, like, this is Muganzi. Muganzi has a chain of pharmacies, long chain of pharmacies. And you think you can have that chain without being the creator, without co-creating. So we want to see pharmacists pushing things. We want to see all that energy coming out. We want to co-create with God, because that's our sole purpose here, create and take care of the creation, just like God is doing what he has done. So Ethan and the council members, please, Dr. Seguya, all the former council members, including the secretaries, Edison, I know you guys are ex-official, 1 year each time. But treasurer. Yeah. So we want to honor those who serve, and we want you guys who are here to serve in the next council. I'm not coming back. I'm not coming back, but I want good people to come and take care. So we're going to cut the cake. We want ladies, PSU, want ladies to come here. Please, let's cut the cake. Let us eat it. Let us celebrate this day. I wish you a great evening, and for tomorrow's AGM at 8, if we have a quorum of 20, we start. If you come at 10, we'll have finished. Then you wait for the cocktail. Thank you so much. Have a good night. Yeah, I'm going to count. Dr. Edson, you are the one to count. You have been nominated and seconded and confirmed that you will have to MC the counting ceremony. No.
Okay, thanks for the opportunity to count. Dr. Duma, as usual, I want me to see who is cutting. So, okay, so let's count the cake. 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Members, please dance, 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 shake your bones. Come here and dance.